Hi, I'm Angela, and this is a presentation on how symbolic interactionism is impacted by social networking sites. So, symbolic interaction is defined as the ongoing use of language and gestures in anticipation of how the other will react. And through symbolic interactionism, we use the mind, the self, and society and incorporate those all into the concept of using interaction to create meaning. This is because intrinsically, words and gestures don't have meaning attached to them, but by using interaction, we are able to put meaning into situations and develop meaning as a society. So, one of the core concepts of interaction is the development of a personal identity. And in recent years, one of the more prominent development in social identity is the use of social media. And especially among adolescents, it seems that everyone is glued to their phones, constantly posting status updates to Facebook and new pictures to Instagram or making tweets. And the way that people have become obsessed with social media has dramatically impacted the way that we communicate with each other. And in terms of symbolic interactionism, the development of a personal self have been altered. And according to an article posted by the International Communication Association titled Symbolic Interactionist Perspective on Linking Privacy and Identity in Social Networks, the author makes a thorough examination of the core concepts of symbolic interactionism and how personal identity is completely different now because of social media. The biggest issue that we face is that there seem to be two types of identity now, an online and an offline self. And while they coincide with each other because it's the same person, the online identity has this ability to modify and selectively expose information, and it creates a world where people are consciously creating a version of their hoped for self through stretching the truth. And in symbolic interactionism, the theorist states that people can't find themselves through introspection, and instead we need to take on the role of the other. And when we use social media, what occurs is that we are taking on the role of our followers and asking ourselves, how will this photo make people think of me? Will this photo be liked by my followers? And we really nowadays have this ability to create our own identity and take on the role of the other and decide what we want other people to see about ourselves, which never have before we really had the power to construct an identity in this way. And then as a result, the personal identity kind of becoming an illusion that people are able to create on behalf of their own desires has impacted social interaction with generalized others. And because generalized others no longer have much of an impactful communication with each other, we aren't creating meaning through social interaction the way we used to. And the author of this article claims that in an online setting, the definition of a situation is even more difficult to make out because the individual is confronted with context collision, invisible audiences, forced disclosure, and a blurring of boundaries between the public and the private. So, although social network sites make it easier for people to express themselves and their thoughts, and we can talk about things that we wouldn't otherwise talk about in offline settings, these social sites aren't really helping us connect to each other and putting distinct connection and meaning into the situations and the social interactions that are we having. So overall, it seems like the development and use of social networking has dramatically altered the traditional aspects of symbolic interaction. And the capability of picking and choosing what aspects of personal identity that others see really negatively impacts the way humans interact with each other. and the lack of truth and overall transparency in social media has caused a hindrance in our communication. And it seems like in a world where we think that we're so connected with each other, maybe we've actually lost the ability to have true, meaningful, and powerful connections.